Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Don's out to end Celtic's unbeaten run. Hibs have the bragging rights in the Edinburgh derby. Partick Thistle not happy with the referee. Just a few of the topics we'll be discussing tonight. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. It's Wednesday. Our bookroom guest is former Rangers and Scotland skipper Barry Ferguson. Lots to discuss on the programme tonight. Let's have a look at the back pages of the newspapers. The Daily Record, first of all, with no surprise, the Betfred bloodbath. Still the fallout from the League Cup semi-final. Only Celts can live with my super Hibbies, says Neil Lennon after that derby win for Hibs over Hearts last night. As far as the Sun is concerned, give us a break. This is Rangers' fury over Alves' two-match ban, which they are appealing. And also there's the picture of some happy Hibs players with Simon Murray scoring that winner. And it's not fair. Rangers seething at the two-match ban offered to Alves, and they are appealing that. And Dawn Star ready for a backlash is the other little sidebar in the Daily Mail, which is of course talking about Kenny McLean and whether he'll get any backlash from the Aberdeen fans because he's announced that he's going to leave the club in the summer. Derek McInnes was quite happy about it, that he was up front with him on it. But do you think Aberdeen fans will give him any stick for deciding he wants to go and, move on to the next part of his career?
Yeah, well, he's one of the top players. I was surprised that nobody came in the summer to try and sign him. He's a player I've always liked. Whether he'll get a backlash, I don't know, because he's been a great player for Aberdeen. Certainly over the last couple of seasons, he's been excellent. So. He's obviously let it known that he's wanting to go and try something different, whether that's to Rangers or maybe down south, we don't know. But if I'm Rangers, I would certainly be interested in him because he's certainly a good player.
Yeah, and the fact that he's out of contract, Ruffy, would be a real bonus.
I just thought it was a strange time to announce it. Again, it's a couple of days before you play Celtic, big game. It's not something I'm sure the boy would want in the back of his mind, getting into a game like that. So I think the timing was a bit strange for me, maybe after the game, but not before a massive game like this.
Yeah, not too long before kick-off on the Aberdeen-Celtic game. We'll reflect on the 90 minutes on tomorrow night's programme. It's a big chance for Aberdeen to end that 60-game unbeaten run for Celtic. Let's have a look at last night's results. Hamilton 0, Partick Thistle 0, Hibs 1, Hearts 0, and St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0. And there's the three matches that are taking place tonight as well. So we're going to look back over the Edinburgh derby just shortly, but let's deal with something else that was in the papers that came out last night and gives us a chance to reflect on it, which is of course Rangers' statement. They are not happy that Bruno Alves was offered that two-match ban. Here's the basis of what Rangers had to say first of all, and then we'll get the guys' thoughts on it. Rangers are shocked by this decision, and they go on to say, in the minds of all fair-minded followers of football, it will be seen as devoid of credibility and balance. Rangers are not seeking to make excuses for losing the match. Motherwell played to the referee's whistle. That is their right, but there were many aspects of the match which caused concern, both for players' safety and the way in which we want to encourage players to play the game. They went on to say, we do not seek to personalise our criticism. The officials have to be respected, even where we might dispute the decisions that they reach. We do, however, have several players injured after the game, one seriously, yet this decision has singled out only one player, a Rangers player, for the punishment. We find this inexplicable. Are we being asked to believe just one player was guilty of violent conduct in Sunday's game? If that's the case, then it is clear Rangers are being assessed to a different standard from others in the Scottish game. We believe the current system for referring matters to disciplinary tribunals requires radical overhaul. It's easy for those with agendas to pick over and highlight minor incidents in a game whilst ignoring the reality of what took place during the game as a whole. We do not know and will not be told who referred this matter, nor what motivated them. So much seems to turn on whether or not a referee was looking at an incident rather than on assessing what actually occurred. Incidents missed by a referee are judged to a far harsher standard than those observed by an official but called wrongly. Rangers share a common goal to all with the Scottish game at heart. We want to see good football. Referees have a crucial role to play in achieving that. We don't believe the current referral procedure assists them or benefits the Scottish game. And they finish with, those of us who care about the Scottish game share an interest in enabling players to play without fear of serious injury rather than convening with great solemnity distinguished panels to adjudicate on matters of play. Okay, Rangers will be declining the offer of a 2-match suspension. So that's what they had to say on the issue. Ruffy, would you want me to dissect each part of it, or do you want to have a go at what you think of it?
It's very difficult, to take most of that in. I don't know who put it out there. Obviously,
does that matter to you?
Yeah. Well, is it the manager or is it somebody other than the manager? To me, it's...
What it's matter, it's a collective from the club. The club have agreed that this is the right course of action to release this statement.
Well, they have every right to, not accept the 2-game ban. I think every other club has used that right. Yeah. It remains to be seen what happens. I've been absolutely astounded this year by some of the stuff that's went in front of a tribunal and somebody's been let off. So we'll have to wait and see how that is. Apart from the rest of it, I just don't agree with any of it at all.
Yep, okay. I'm going to read out Vincent Lunny's quotes that have come from him with regards to it, Barry, and then I'll get your take on it. Basically, he said the compliance officer's role is to be dispassionate as possible. The job is to look at all the incidents in a match and decide what you can actually prove before the panel. I can only assume that the Bowman elbow on Cardozo has been assessed because it is high profile. Is it violent conduct or serious foul play with excessive force or brutality, or was it simply reckless? You can't take retrospective action for reckless action, which would be a caution. You can't look at the outcome. The fact that his nose is broken is dreadful, but that's not indicative of the quality of the action from Bowman. I suspect it's being viewed as reckless. It's a panel of 3 independent judges who will then decide whether or not Alves breached Rule 200 and if there's been a missed sending off offence.
I've got to agree. I've watched it. I watched it again. I watched the game live. And then obviously after the game, listen, there's no doubt the boy Cardoso got a sore one. He's broke his nose. But I watched it and I've watched it again, and I think it's just reckless for Bowman. I don't think there's any intent Bowman going up there to try and hurt Cardoso. That's my honest opinion. And I just can't believe we're in Wednesday and we're still talking about it on Sunday. It's a physical game. It's a man's game. Things like this happen. There was elbows for both teams. I can't believe we're still talking about it.
Yeah, I think just dealing with the statement is bordering on ridiculous at times. I don't think it's becoming of Rangers on a number of points. I'll be honest with you. Rangers are shocked by the decision in the minds of all fair-minded followers of football. That's according to Rangers. The other one here is, they're talking about player safety, and we want to encourage players to play the game. So they're not happy with Motherwell's tactics. Fine, they don't want to personalise the criticism of officials, but it's blatantly obvious that they're calling into question some of the decisions, which is fine. Everybody can call out the referee, but this one here, to suggest that Rangers are being assessed at a different standard from others in the Scottish game, that suggests an agenda or different rules for Rangers, which is ridiculous. And of course, they're suggesting that the system should be overhauled. I think they're in an isolated situation there where it's a radical overhaul. I don't know everybody that's sharing that view. And the one thing that really, I think, is something that's happened at Rangers before, and I don't know why they're going down this road again. We don't know and won't be told who referred this matter. Why do you need to know who refers the matter? at the end of the day, everybody knows there's a compliance officer, there's somebody looking over incidents in the game. You don't need to know the identity. What is that for? Why do you need to know the identity of someone?
You know, that's obviously Rangers have got the problem with that one. You know, that but it's not the first time that they've questioned this. But I'm like you, I'd look at all these things that you've identified there, and I'm actually speechless. I'm actually shaking my head that a club the size of Rangers Football Club would lower themselves to throw out something like that. That's why I'm saying it'd be very interesting who instigated getting this letter together to throw it out there.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Rangers are right to do is to appeal the decision.
Yeah, if they appeal the decision,
we're not happy with it, that's fine.
No, if they go, if Alves goes and the 3 people who are on it decide that he's not guilty, then he'll be free. If they find he's guilty, he's guilty. They have to accept, same as every other club in the land, that is the decision. And there has been 2 or 3, as I said, decisions earlier on where Rangers have got off. So I can't remember what player it was, but he got off with an appeal.
Okay, that will argue, the argument will rage on, probably will be on this Wednesday and the Wednesday after. We'll have a quick break. Yep, 1971, not a year that any of us actually managed to nail. Okay, from issues relating to on the park and off it, we now switch to the events of last night and those 3 matches that were played in the Premiership. There was the small matter of the Edinburgh Derby. Always love going through to it, Ruffy. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Great atmosphere, full to the gunnels. You know, few empty seats here and there, but nothing to write home about. Just a magical atmosphere, and set off, you know, with as you can see, a goal that had us all thinking that this was going to be a goal fest. Simon Murray opening his account after only 3 minutes.
Yeah, he does quick nutmeg there, right onto his right foot. And if you get a chance again, I'm not blaming the goalkeeper, but I just thought the goalkeeper was in the right place at the right time. I just don't know how he never did anything about it. You know, it seemed to go right over the top of him.
Sheer power, but
yeah, he's done well. I mean, by all accounts, the 2 wingers absolutely ran riot, and they've got all the pace in the world. And Neil was saying that they were the main people who won the game forward, but they were great to watch.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest with you, Barry. I thought it was 1 going on 3 or 4. Hibs' dominance in that game. I was so disappointed with Hearts.
Yeah, I was disappointed in Hearts. I was looking forward to the game, to be fair. I thought Hibs were excellent. I thought the 3 in the middle of the park for Hibs were tremendous. But for Hearts, I expected a bit more. I know they've got a few injuries. They had quite a few young boys playing. But Hibs, I mean, that could have been 3 or 4. They were fantastic in the night. And I love seeing the boy Murray. He was playing in League 2, 3 years ago. And look at him now, he scored a great goal last night. Because I thought they would have missed Stokes, because he's a big player for Hibs. But some amount of work the boy Murray puts in, and you get a great goal. And when that, as you say, when that goal went in, I was expecting a barrel load of goals, but the result didn't reflect Hibs' dominance for me. I thought they were excellent tonight. I want to get your
thoughts on a couple of the midfielders that bossed the game, but let's hear from Neil Lennon on the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy. You know me, it takes a lot to make me happy. I thought the first half was perfect. I thought the football and the pace and the intensity that we played at, maybe only Celtic could live with that. We've been playing ever so well, and I've been saying it for a while, and we haven't got what we deserved. I think the scoreline flatters Hearts. I thought we were thoroughly dominant, and I've been involved in a lot of derbies, and that's as good as any, you know, in terms of the performance and the feeling I got out of it. There was a lot riding on the game tonight, and we've come through it brilliantly.
Yep, and he went on to compliment his midfielders, and in the midfield, you know, McGinn's had all the praise coming his way, and rightly so over the last few months, but for me, it was a masterclass from Dylan McGeoch. I mean, I just thought he had the cigars out at times. He had control of the game.
Yeah, he ran the show in the first half for me, especially the first 45 minutes. He's a player I've always liked, but I've not seen it consistent. He's had a few injuries. He's not had a run of games. Once he gets up and gets a run of games and he performs like that, he should be looking at getting in the Scotland squad with that first half performance. Second half, he was good. He just wasn't as good as the first half. But as you said, a lot of people talk about McGinn, but for me, he was different class in the first half.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to point out to you, we were talking about Rangers, you know, and sometimes you look at what's missing with your old side. The one thing I love about midfielders is the ones who can actually not only influence the game with a pass, but can also influence it going past a man. He seems to glide past players as if they're not there.
Yeah, he's got that. I mean, you're going back to Rangers. I think Rangers let Dylan McGeoch go.
They did. They did. That's what I was going to say to you.
When he was younger and he went to Celtic. Obviously, it didn't work out at Celtic. He was in and out of the squads. But I think he's at the right place at the right time. Hibs are a good team. He's got a good manager. But I just like the way he plays, as you say. He just glides past players. Very good passer of the ball, and again, he's get physically stronger. For me, I don't know whether he's had a few injuries and he's done a bit of work in the gym or whatever, but I would like to see him get a run of games, 10, 15, 20 games, produce that week in, week out, and he'll not be far away for a Scotland squad.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say about your old side, Ruffy, on the flanks, I mean, Boyle had a trick. He had pace. He caused them no end of problems. More, I thought, than Brandon Barker did. But the one element of it, if you could possibly look at something in a negative, is they have dominated other teams and haven't been able to kill them off with a second goal, and they should have had it last night.
Well, you just have to look at the run of draws that Neil's had. You know, I think they're unbeaten in 8 games, and a lot of them were draws. You know, draws that could have been wins, and that's, I think that's the Golland thing for him. No, but it was an old style winger last night. You know, halfway line, draw the full back into the halfway line, hit it by him, use your pace, put quality balls into the box, and that they exploited that. Neil must have looked at Hearts and obviously videos and saw that was a weakness in their team, and they exploited it all night.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did feel sorry for the boy Brandon. He just had one of those games that you just instantly want to forget. Over and above that, listen, he wasn't the only one. Hearts were so poor, and Craig Levein first to admit it.
I'm more disappointed for the fact that we turned up with the right attitude, but we just didn't play, and that's what disappointed me. I think it's disappointed the players as well. I think the first half was really poor. We didn't really get going at all. I didn't feel we were getting cut open, but at the same time we never really got the ball moving at all the way we needed to. So we ended up giving it away and then defending and giving it away and defending, and that was a pattern pretty much for the first half, because we wouldn't take the ball in areas where we needed to take it to get us out of that predicament. So that was a disappointing thing, that we didn't pass the ball well enough.
Yeah, it wasn't. I still think he'll have a bit of work to do, changing them and getting them into a style. But last night at times, they just launched it.
Yeah, I know he's saying that they didn't play well, but that's credit to Hibs. I thought Hibs came out the traps, went at them. I thought the intensity of Hibs was unbelievable. Hearts couldn't cope with it, as Craig Levein said there. When they got the ball, they just gave it away again. And when you give it away to good midfielders, they cut you open. But I like Hibs. I've got a feeling they're going to finish strong. He's got a good group of players there, and I think he'll only strengthen in January. But he's done a fantastic job, Neil Lennon.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you play in a derby, and if you score a goal, it's to be remembered forever and a day. As I'm sure Simon Murray will always remember this goal.
Honestly, I couldn't have hoped for a better. You know, I didn't feel as if I played unbelievably well or whatever. I just got the goal. It was a bit of a tense match to be involved in. Obviously, the first experience with the crowd and everything like that was great. But obviously, one that I'll remember now.
Yeah, he just needs to be told, Ruffy, listen, even if you're ranked rotten, if you score the goal, who cares?
No, I think it's bad to tell. If you go into a derby game and you score in the first 2-3 minutes of a game, the opposition's on the back foot for the next 15-20 minutes. So you capitalise on everything you've got, and that's what Hibs did. You know, they played to the wings and they kept firing balls into the box, and the threat's always there to get the second one.
Yep, I do like the look of John Souttar at the back for Hearts. He can bring the ball out, he can pick a pass. He had a torrid time last night, and he mentioned the fact that the players just didn't seem to turn up.
We didn't perform at all. We didn't pass the ball well or anything like that, and we didn't really create that many chances so we can't be sitting here going, oh, that we're unlucky, because we didn't really create that many chances. So it's just one of them games. I think you see every side in the world having a day where they play one of their rivals and they don't. So I don't think it's a week in, week out thing. I think you see teams all over the world going and playing their rivals, and they have off days, and I think this was one for us.
Yeah, 8 games now unbeaten, Hibs against Hearts in the derby matches, and probably by the next time they play, they'll be back at a new, improved Tynecastle.
I'm looking forward to seeing Tynecastle, my favourite away ground.
Yeah.
I love playing there.
Were you happy with the pelters because they were right at you?
I enjoyed that. They were within touching distance. Get a few pelters, that's for sure. But that wasn't just at Tynecastle, that was everywhere. But no, I love playing at Tynecastle. I'm looking forward to seeing the new stand. I've not seen it.
Yeah.
But
don't worry, neither of the Hearts fans. They're trying to get it ready for November 19th now.
But I've seen a few games at Murrayfield and it doesn't look right. You know, I mean, empty seats. I mean, Hearts at home against Tynecastle, it's always full houses. So I'm sure their players will be desperate to get back to Murrayfield.
Yeah,
sorry, Tynecastle, should I say?
Yeah, get away from Murrayfield. You're absolutely right. On another, now Hibs have got the bragging rights in it, and they've got a bit of the power. I think Levine would need to dive into that transfer market in January as well.
Yeah, well, the good thing about it is he's getting a couple of young boys a game. They'll learn
Cochrane looked good.
Yeah, they'll learn for that experience of a derby game. I mean, I don't know what age were you, Barry, your first derby game? I mean,
it was 18.
18, yeah.
It's great to see the 16-year-old. I mean, he had a wee tackle on the touchline.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
Some tackle.
It could have been a sending off, but it's great to see boys 16. He looked a decent player. I've not seen a lot of the boy. In fact, I've not seen much of him, but it's great to see young boys coming through and getting a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll wait to see if there's any retrospective ban and whether Hearts are calling to know the identity of the guy who referred the possible ban that's being handed out. Just a thought, Ruffy, I thought I'd throw it your way. We'll have a quick break. We'll be back with more chat. By the way, I really don't like Wednesdays, Ruffy, because when he gets one right, he's unbearable, isn't he? I mean, he just pads
it was
about.
Katie Price that done it for me. It's nothing to do with the football question.
Okay, 1978, Barry nails it. We'll move on swiftly. Hamilton against Partick Thistle. Okay, 0-0. Not one that's going to be released on DVD. But yet again, Partick Thistle manager Alan Archibald reckons that Stephen McLean shouldn't have been the referee so soon after all the controversy of the weekend. Has he got a point?
I think he might have a point for the referee's point of view. You know, that to throw him into another game so quick, obviously with all the controversy that's going out. But I mean, I think the referee would be big enough to say, no, I never done anything wrong in that. You know, it's my game, I'm going to have it. You know, okay, he's still got to make decisions in the game. But I don't think the decisions that he would have made last night had anything to do with the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Thistle thought they should have had a penalty. Hamilton thought they should have had 2 penalties, Ruffy.
I thought the Hamilton one looked like a penalty to me. Looked as if he was in the box, you know, for the angle of what he was looking at. Hamilton player was on the inside of the Partick Thistle player. So it was so tight to call. That's why we're all talking about video evidence. That would have cleared that up. The one with Dougie Imrie, I mean, the ball's, you know, going towards his face and he puts his hand up. I'd like to know the rules there, how you implement that, and how you see it. You know, what does it come under? You know, to make that kind of decision.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, when they eventually get to video refereeing, will you want the name of the person who's looking over the video stuff?
Might help.
Yeah, okay.
Who would be a referee?
Yeah,
honestly.
not for
Well, how do
all
you
the tea in China.
Well, what's your view on the Dougie Emery one? Dougie Emery, is that a penalty? And putting his hands up?
Well, the law here is if your hands are in an unnatural position. You know, sometimes if the distance between you and the player is so short, and the ferocity of the ball, the pace of it at you, you can't do anything about it. But if your hands are in an unnatural position and stop the ball going through to a position,
you see a lot of these defenders when they go up, when a lot of wingers going to the byline to cross it in, they're standing, they're going up with their hands behind their back.
absolutely.
If the ball's going to your face, your natural reaction is to put your hand up.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it's one
as
of
you
those.
says, I think when you're within a yard,
Yeah,
you can't do anything to get out of the way. But if you're maybe 3 or 4 yards, you've got time to do that. It's the distances. They need to clear it up.
Yeah. I don't know why did we stop deliberate handball? Deliberately sticking your hand out. Why did we stop that rule?
yeah. Why are you looking at me as if I'm going to give you the definitive answer on it? I don't know either. I mean, at the end of the day,
But it seems a lot simpler for the referee to make his mind up whether it was deliberate or not. You know, as Barry said, a defender going out to block.
Well, can I just say something to you? Can I just say something to you? And this is what a lot of referees tell me, and only due to the fact that you try and stay in constant contact with the rule changes, and of course communication with the referees. And John Fleming does a great job trying to explain why a referee would come to a certain decision. You're talking about interpretation, which more often than not in the last 10, 15, 20 years, they've tried to take as much of that free interpretation away from the referee. It's black and white, here it is, this is your decision, you can't move either left or right of it because this is the rule, this is how you have to interpret it, rather than a referee saying, well, you had a couple of bookings, I really, I mean, last night was a classic case at Easter Road where the referee, Andrew Dallas, points, and this is what he does to Jamie Walker. 3 places where he's fouled, and he's just been guilty of another foul. Now, why he wasn't booked absolutely left me gobsmacked. But clearly, from his point of view, he didn't view the 3 previous challenges or the 4th one as worthy of a yellow card. But he highlighted that if you're going to be guilty of persistent fouling, then there's a yellow card coming your way. But for me, as soon as he goes 1, 2, 3, I'm thinking surely you're going to book him for the 4th one, but he didn't.
I had a chat with him, didn't
Yeah, he had a chat with him, and everybody's going crazy. Yep. So that was the referee's interpretation of it. But that's what annoys people.
What annoys people, they keep saying, is the consistency. You know, they're looking at different things, and referees are interpreting what some people think is identical, and I never think there's anything identical.
Yeah.
And that's what upsets the managers.
The bonus for it all is Hamilton stopped that run they were on. So suddenly they stop a 6-game losing run. Then you're in a situation where Thistle have picked up 4 points from 2 games, Ruffy, which is good for them as well.
Yeah, and it's good. And it's got St Johnson at the weekend, and they're sort of not firing on all cylinders either, so they'll look to try and take something out of that.
Yep, okay. What about Ross County, St Johnson 0-0? The one blow here is Scott Fox was taken off the park, and nobody was really near him when he made that clearance. So it's clearly a real worry for them that their main goalkeeper could be out for quite a while.
Yeah, and he had 2 terrific saves, kept his team in the game, got them a point. And it's good that he's come back. Obviously, that bad goal against Rangers, he was dropped for a couple of games, but he's fought his way back in there, so it's a wee bit of a blow for him. I hope he's not out too long.
Yeah, but again, I mean, Ross County, I think, will be far happier with the point there, Barry, even though it wasn't a great game.
St Johnson are no firing just now. I expected St Johnson to win last night, but all credit to Ross County. Since Owen Coyle's come in there, he's done a great job. It's a great point for Ross County. I think it's a couple of points dropped for St Johnson. They'll need to start. They've had a strange start to the season. They're a team that I like. Manager who's done a great job up there. So they'll need to get back to winning ways at the weekend.
Yeah, let's have a look at the table to see what you guys make of it all now. As we go into the next quarter of matches, as you can see, Celtic and Aberdeen, we'll reflect on that tomorrow. Motherwell obviously in action, Rangers against Kilmarnock. We'll know the outcome of these matches by the time we hit Thursday night's programme. But at the bottom, you know, it's all nip and tuck now. You know, 4, 5, 6 clubs, all the way up to 6th. In fact, you know, everybody is within striking distance of each other, Barry.
No, I would, for Ross County down, that's who I think will be amongst it right until the end of the season. I don't think above them. I think Ross County, Kilmarnock, Partick, Dundee and Hamilton. It'll be pretty close with them, whoever finishes bottom of the league.
Yeah, I mean, I had Hamilton and Ross County. Ruffy, who did you have?
I had Hamilton and Dundee.
Why does everybody pick Hamilton?
Because you're here and you come to Hamilton.
Yeah, well, yeah. The other part of it is, and you know, Ruffy lives on a code that eventually, if you keep picking them,
right.
you know, they'll go. He's picked them for the last 4 years, so he's hoping that they eventually do indeed go. I'm only kidding. I mean, I know you don't hope that they're going to go. It's just that resources, they just keep defying the logic of it all.
Yeah, they do. And I seen last night they had a number of young boys. My young nephew was on the bench, Derek's boy, so he's just started to break in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be if you're a young player. I think the young boy T started last night, so they've got a lot of good young boys coming through Hamilton, and I think they do it the right way. They do it the right way, and they don't put the manager under any pressure. I seen Dave McKinnon was on here a few weeks back, and he was explaining the way it works. I think it's a good way. The manager's never under, I'm not saying he's never under any pressure, but they don't expect too much, whether it be challenging into the top half of the table. As long as they stay in the league, I think they're happy.
Forgive me for this next question, because I don't want to put pressure on him, but Derek's son, what position does he play?
He plays the same position as me.
I mean, that's just an absolute nightmare. I mean,
do you know
talk
what?
about pressure. I mean, that is just outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sir Stanley Matthews' son, we're going to speak to them later on this week, Ruffy. He, you know, was playing football and he thought, how do I live up to him? How do I live up to him? You know, it's just so difficult. I mean, great for advice for you guys, but wow, what a pressure.
Well, it's like, my son, he's away doing a scholarship in America. I think he wants to be his own man. Lewis stayed here. He was at Rangers again, get freed for Rangers and went to Hamilton, I think, when he was 14, 15, and he's been in full time now. As he's into his second year. He's got a real good chance. He needs to just keep working hard, but no, he can handle the pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd love to be a fly in the wall, Ruffy, in the chat about, right, here's some of the lunacy that's going to unfold that you've got to try and avoid. I mean, you two could write a sensational book on it.
Well,
have you written a book yet?
He's got a right uncle and right dad, hasn't he?
Yeah. Have you written a book yet?
It was 7, 8 years ago. How do you want to write one?
No, I'm just saying, I mean, it would be absolutely fantastic. Well, listen, you two, I mean, if you two did warts and all, it would be an unbelievable book. In Ruffy's world, it was like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Everything was lovely, rich, yellows, purples, people were all nice. It was, you know, Ruffy.
No, listen, he's got a very good chance if he keeps working hard. You know, 18 breaking into the first team. So.
Well, if he's a chip off his dad's old block and a wee bit of you mixed in there, he's going to be some player, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Okay, after the break, we are going to talk Dundee United because they're looking for a new manager. What about the fans? We're going to talk to Mike Barilli, who's a Dundee United fan. Got a Skype call with him earlier this afternoon just to get his view on the sacking of Ray McKinnon and who should be the new manager. There's a few candidates, and of course United not out of the running. They could still win the championship, but who's going to galvanise that squad? Did you get that, Ruffy?
No, everything but 8. We went 7, 6 and 9.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well worth a guess. Always good fun. Now let's switch our attention to Dundee United. Ray McKinnon lost his job. Barry, the remit's fairly straightforward. Win the league. The board thought it doesn't look as if you're the man to take us to that title.
They're only 5 points off the top. I thought it's a strange club, Dundee United.
Yeah.
I'll go back to what happened with Jackie McNamara and Simon Donnelly when they left, and then I quite like Ray McKinnon, to be fair. I think he was doing a great job with the resources they've got for the championship, but I still think it's early doors. I still think they had enough time to climb the league. So we'll see who comes in. There's a few good candidates for me.
Yeah.
One jumps out at me straight away, and it's Big Jim McIntyre and Dodgy, because they've played there. They know the club. But I still think it was a bit early for them to sack McKinnon.
I just thought it's the same old situation. You got a club who sell all their best players, and then the manager cops it. You know that for the past 2 or 3 years, Dundee United have just single-handedly, taken the money and let all these young players go. I know you've got to take decent money when it comes along, but I thought at a stage, all right, we've let these two go. That's it for another 2 3 years. We'll just keep all the young players we've got. But unfortunately, all their best players have been sold. Earlier
today I caught up with Dundee United fan Mike Barilli, and the first question obviously is on the fact that yet again they're looking for a new manager.
Yes, sad times again. It just seems to be the case every other year at Tannadice now, that we just go from one crisis to another, and it's really sort of unpleasant, because Ray was a great player. He's a local boy, Dundee United man at heart, and really wanted to do well, and everyone wanted him to do well, but I just think he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, what went wrong, you think, apart from obviously the board are looking and saying, win the league, that's your remit, nothing else. Do you think there were things or elements of his team that went wrong on the park?
Yeah, I think he's made a bad choice in one or two of the experienced guys that he's brought in. From what I'm hearing, there's been a lot of disharmony in the dressing room, and for an inexperienced manager, it's not good when you've got experienced pros causing problems. And I don't think he got the support of the United board to deal with it. It's very much like a teacher in a school situation. Kid's the problem, and if the headmaster's not supporting you, there's very little you can do about it.
Yeah, I have a certain amount of sympathy for Ray McKinnon and the job and what he was supposed to do, but the next man in's got the same remit, Mike. It's quite simply get in and win the league.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy, because there isn't a lot of money there. The fact that it's taken United 3 days to negotiate, a compromise with Ray shows that they're obviously looking to make payments rather than a proper full-scale redundancy payment. It's a cheap option. Whoever comes in isn't going to get a lot of money to bring in any players, and a deal breaker could be whether or not he even gets to bring in an assistant.
Okay, here's a big question then, Mike. Even from a personal point of view, or if you've managed to gauge some kind of name from the majority of United fans, who would you like to see in that chair?
That's a difficult question. The kind of guys we'd like to see, we'd love to see a guy like Wright from St Johnstone being approached again and given an opportunity at Tannadice. But in all reality, unless we offer him enough money, he's not going to come. Lambert would be a brilliant choice again, but unless we offer him money, he won't come. And I think that's because we've seen clubs like Kilmarnock and Ross County have managed recently to pick up top quality candidates. So why can't Dundee United do it? And the difficulty is we're being associated with guys that are out of work and very cheap options. Well, they're out of work for a very good reason. They've not been very successful. And, there's a real split amongst United fans in terms of John Hughes. There's some that say, he's got a point to prove, give him a chance. And that's fair enough. But if a guy like Hughes gets the offer to do it, he should definitely only be given a contract to the end of the season and a bonus if he gets us up.
Yeah.
It'll be very difficult for United to come up in a playoff situation. We have to win that league.
I'm going to finish on a positive note, Mike. You know, you're in a position where it's not out of bounds to win the league. You're still in touching distance. It's just a case of somebody to come in and galvanise that squad.
Yeah, someone could do it. In fact, there was an argument that if Ray had been given more time, he could have done it as well. He just needed more support, I think, in the boardroom. I don't think he got the support that he should have got. And I think the crucial role in any club is between the chairman and the manager. Unless they're totally together and solid, the club's going to fall apart. And it doesn't matter who comes in. It's going to be very difficult for them to work with Stephen Thompson, that's for sure.
Yeah, Mike Barley there talking about the situation at Dundee United. A lot of good candidates. I think he's a little bit worried that it's just people who are out of work, Ruffy. I mean, he's mentioned a couple of managers there that I think would cost a bit of money and are above Dundee United's budget. I don't think Dundee United have got a lot of cash to splash.
No, but every time we hear there's a manager's job coming up, we're hearing there's 30, 40, 50 candidates all applying for it. So obviously they'll have to sift through who they are. But I mean, Jim McIntyre's sitting there, and Billy Dodds, vast experience.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'd want to get back into the game as quick as possible. I mean, Dundee United are a big club. Once they get back into the Premier League, they might get back to where they were.
Yeah, the one pertinent point with regards to Jim McIntyre and Billy Dodds, and I'm not comparing them to every other candidate, but the one bonus is I don't view them as a failure because I look at, I was absolutely gobsmacked that they were sacked when they were at Ross County.
I was surprised as you. What is the remit up at Ross County? He went and won them a cup, finishing very well in the league. I know they had a difficult start this season, but listen, the job that Jim and Dodds had done up there for me was a very good one. So I think they're excellent candidates for the Dundee United. As I say, both of them have played there, both of them know the club, and both of them are obviously out of work just now, so there's no compensation or whatever needed.
Yeah, I tipped them to win the division. I'm not so sure that's going to be the case now. Have you got somebody else in mind?
No, I still think they've got a strong enough squad, a good enough squad to do it. They're only 5 points off the top. We're not talking here 10 or 15.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm surprised that Ray McKinnon's been given the bullet.
You sticking with United?
I think United will win it.
Yeah. Here's a man I'd never want to be Prime Minister. Have you changed your mind?
You're right, I've changed my mind. I took Falkirk.
Yeah. United, do you think they could still be in the mix?
I don't think any other teams are showing any consistency at all. I think they're all a much of a much, and it usually is the team who really throws a wee run together, maybe 4 games undefeated, and to draw away. But no, I think this year, more than any other year, I don't think there'll be a runaway winner. I think it'll be really tight, which is good for us because it'll be really exciting right up until the end.
Yeah, I've got to say congratulations to Scotland Women's International side. Paisley last night, 5-0 win. That's 2 back-to-back wins for the World Cup qualifiers, Ruffy.
Yeah, it's great when you go into a campaign to start off with wins, and certainly convincing wins as well. And you can see the girls are absolutely confident in everything they're doing, and they're good to watch.
Yeah, and of course we've got Leanne as our main reporter at some of the games. So it'd be great if they get there. We could just tell us to take a camera with her to the World Cup finals and film everything, and give us the lowdown on Scotland obviously going all the way.
I thought you were going to say we should be going to it.
No.
Why is she taking the camera? Why are we not getting one?
No, exactly. I can't see our budget actually going towards getting to the finals with her. But hey, cost cutting. That's all I'm saying to you. Now, talking of which, a couple of things to finish with. A nice story. I like to finish in some nice stories. The Huddersfield fan with his dad at the game against Manchester United. He found a £5 on the ground in the stadium. Do you keep it or do you hand it in, Ruffy? Okay,
Be honest.
Barry.
Oh, keep it.
You two are despicable. Anyway, with his dad, Adam Bana and his dad says we cannot keep what is not ours. So he wrote a letter with the fiver in the envelope and sent it to Huddersfield and said, could you please give that to Aaron Moy because he scored and he was man of the match.
Oh, there you go.
Which was a really nice thing to do. But sadly, the two individuals we've had on tonight's programme pocketed the fiver and then went to the pub and went, you same again, Ruffy? Yeah, thanks, Baz. Fiver in the pocket. Cannot believe you two. Anyway, on that. And by the way, don't tweet, and I know what the tweets are coming. The two of them need the fiver. Yeah, exactly.
The tweets will say.
Good night.